Yes, yes, yes. It is the CastWorthy podcast. Back at you here this fine evening. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine. Joined here by EJ the Savage
Yep.
on this Saturday night quick throw together uh, episode, unplanned. Just getting on here, trying to get some content out, have some conversation while we watch this Yankee game.
Indeed. Back and forth between the Gators and the Yankees for me.
Right. Gators are playing who again?
LSU.
Oh, okay. So they were a big underdog, right?
LSU's ranked 5. Gators are ranked 7, but LSU's at home in Death Valley, so I don't think people expected it to be a game like this.
True.
They were up 7 last I just looked. Gators, that is.
Okay. So, yeah, before we get started, the scroll across the bottom basically says it all, man. We just recently rolled out the YouTube channel, building that up. So subscribe there. You'll get the alerts when something new is posted. Instagram at Castworthy _ podcast. Facebook, you can search Castworthy Podcast and we'll come up. Twitter, same thing, Castworthy Podcast. And for listening, for non-video outlets, you can listen on Spotify, Spreaker, which is www.spreaker.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, pretty much anywhere that you can get your podcast content just by searching Castworthy Podcast, and we'll pop up. And we appreciate the follows, the likes, the shares, the subscription, subscribe, all that beautifulness. But yeah, Savage, what's
Dessert.
good, man? What's your Saturday look like?
Today, daddy and the daughters today. We went to Morgan State University's homecoming for a quick
Okay,
little spell. Sights were nice.
you took the kids there.
Yeah. That was rough. Never again. That was rough. Walking with a 5-year-old, 8-year-old, and 10-year-old. A little rough. But we survived, and the sights were amazing. The things that people wear today is pretty interesting. But
At a
it was,
homecoming, nonetheless.
yeah, homecoming is black homecoming is it's like that ignorant. It's like that family cookout without your parents. You know what I mean? So, it gets a little wild, you know what I mean, to say the least. So,
You,
yeah.
you see anybody up there?
Oh yeah. I know a lot of good people up there, It was good to run in a couple of people here and there, And it was fun, man. It was cool for the moment. I had to get the kids home because all that walking wasn't conducive. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Um, yeah, man. So pretty slow Saturday for me. I had to work today, so it was break of dawn, 7 a.m. shit.
Mm,
Got out at 4 and took a ride over to the movie theater, went and saw Joker,
mm,
which
yes.
yeah, I think we got to talk about that. We definitely got to talk about that.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
You saw it last week, right?
I saw it. I did. I saw it last week.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I know it got like banned in a few places. Like some movies theaters stopped showing it because of the violence.
Mhm.
In Connecticut, they said they were going to stop showing it last Thursday through the whole state. I don't know if they actually did that or if it was just certain areas.
Wow.
But yeah, man, some people were saying it was violence that stopped people or stopped it, and then others were saying it was due to the inciting a riot type thing, and kind of it could cause public
Unrest.
Yeah, outlash, from the public. And just getting right into it, man. After watching that shit, I think the Joker might be my new favorite superhero, man.
Super
Like,
villain.
nah, he's a hero to me, man. He's a hero.
I knew you meant
Like,
that.
like watching that, it listen, man. So I'm sitting there watching it, and I think first of all, they did a phenomenal job. They did a great job portraying the mental illness that he had. Joaquin Phoenix, known for fucking Gladiator, right? And We Own
Gladiator,
the Night.
Signs. Yeah, Signs.
Yeah, so he was in a bunch of shit, but he did a
Johnny
fucking
Cash. Yeah.
yeah, did a great job. I mean, the physical change to his body structure that he made for that, dropping all that weight is fucking bananas.
50 pounds.
Yeah, man, playing the that role with the laughing and you know just doing that shit on key, on command and executing. Like, he did a fucking great job on that shit, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the way they wrote it, they portrayed really well. The mental illness side of things. And some people were saying that it was a play on it. And the way I saw it is, I think they were showing us how insensitive we are as a society. And that's how I took it.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it, you feel bad for him right at the beginning before you even know that it's a, what kind of issue it is when he they come right in and he's getting his ass whooped. You know what I mean? And
Yo.
you're like, what the fuck?
Oh,
So
that
yeah,
shit
you feel
cracked
bad
me up.
for him, man.
That shit
Throughout the
cracked me up.
movie, you want him to win. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then when he
Mm-hmm.
finally, made the first move on the subway
Mm-hmm.
or on the train, I was ready to applaud. I'm sitting in there like, I ad lib a little bit when I go to the movies and shit. And the first thing I could say was, they fuck with the wrong one this time. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when he did it, like, I felt really good for him. Like, I felt myself sitting there like, yo, good, good for this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Good for him, yo. He's a prisoner of his own fucking mind, man. He was a prisoner in his own head, and you know, it is what it is, man. It came out. So let's get into some of the conversation, man. What did you think of it?
I mean, you definitely captured a lot of my feelings on it. I mean, coming from a comic book perspective, of course, as the resident comic book person of the cast,
Mm-hmm.
they took the Killing Joke, which was the comic behind this, and they added a lot to it, to make it spin for movies. Um, but it maintained its purpose of showing the dark side of this character in Fleck. Um, it gave us the origin of the Joker. If you just look at it chronologically, while it didn't tell you everything you needed to know, you can make a lot of inferences of the time that it took place. So this is pre-Batman, right?
Right.
This is the first time we had ever seen Thomas Wayne in this capacity on the big screen. Thomas Wayne being Batman's father, seeing
Indeed.
him in this capacity on the big screen, having a speaking role, saying "fuck," not being this angel of Gotham that he's always been portrayed to be in every other
Right.
iteration. Then just the Easter eggs all over it, just and then the thing about it is it's a comic book movie, but it was rooted in so much acting and drama, and just you could just remove yourself from the comic universe and look at this as just a film that just it just looks crazy. It's just a guy who's lost it, who's been on the brink, who then creates this cult following behind him, And
Yep.
you could just be looking at any other movie out of a director's imagination, but the fact that they rooted this in the Batman comics so well, it
Mhm.
was phenomenal, man. And really, going forward for the DC cinematic universe, it kind of gives a reset and it sets the tone going forward for a string of dark movies. Because this took place pre-Batman, this now sets up the parallels between Batman and Joker, and the fact that they twisted the story to say this was the night that his parents were killed. It was by a guy with the Joker mask. And this just sets up a run of films if they really wanted to go this route. And it's pretty fucking amazing the way that they did it. I mean, they're still gonna milk the Wonder Womans, the Shazams, and the Aquamans. They're still gonna milk those films because they made a lot of money, but they've now created a lane for more films to come, and then an incorporation of a darker Batman and all of this. So we got a lot here, man. It was pretty phenomenal. It was raw. I mean, like you said, the train situation, I ain't even see that part coming. You forgot that he had, for a quick second, I forgot he had a pistol on him. And
Oh,
then
he's out.
the way he just shot him, it was phenomenal, man. And he's like the underdog the entire movie. And like you said, the insensitivity, not just to the mental health, but the underdog and the poor. Like, they were just really painting that narrative on how bad society was spitting on the underclass of this city, and people just had enough. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think what they did really well is, when he went on the talk show, and I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to spoil it for people, but when he went on the talk show, he made it. I mean, I think he kind of said what the intent was behind the movie, the whole movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? When he was talking about just mental health, how society treats them, treats people. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, but I was thinking the same thing, like from a comic book standpoint, the Batmans, and compared to the other movies we see, we've always seen the Wayne parents, or Bruce Wayne's parents, always as, the who really knew what their story, any story about them. Like, all you've ever seen was the alley, they get killed, the pearls and shit, same bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
um so I think they did a good job there. Again, kind of making it to where they almost made Thomas Wayne a villain in
Yeah.
a sense, right?
Yeah.
If you're a human with any type of heart, and you're empathizing or sympathizing with you know the Joker in this movie, you would definitely see um Wayne as a villain, and that's what I was seeing him partially as a villain, right? I saw him as a villain, and I saw, society, the society they were living in as a villain. The three scumbags on the train. I mean,
Mhm.
the cops kind of,
The
even though they,
kids.
yeah, the kids, like
Yeah.
everyone. I mean, even his coworkers, like
Shh.
every everyone was against him, right? And you know, when the apartment scene came, I'm like, good, like good for this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, but I think it was an excellent movie. Matter of fact, I think it was so damn good. Like, there hasn't really ever been a movie where I was like, yo, I have to see that again.
Right.
Like Dark Knight, I think, was one of them where I was like, yo, I must see that again after I saw Dark Knight the first time. Um, without, I mean, in the movies. And I think, this was so good. Like, I definitely want to see it again. Like, it, to your point, the way they told the story, and bef- it ended before, like, it was a 2-hour movie, and when it
Mm.
ended, I still was like, yo, I can take more. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like, I was like, all right, so now we about to get to the good shit. And then I looked at my watch, and I'm like, oh, this shit about to end. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So And then even then I fucks I fucks with the Joker on this story because he got him a little dark skin honey that he was he was liking. So um I don't I wish we had gotten something about what took place in that apartment before he left.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um
I was just gonna say I can tell they left some things on the cutting room floor. I can honestly tell. I could see it in the movie in the transition, even when he first meets Zazie. I'm saying her real name, but when he first meets her, and then he goes from meeting her to bagging her. You know what I mean? I can tell they cut some key things, but the way that they still integrated it and made it flow was
yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, him bagging her, like the funny part is him bagging her and the way it really happened. I kind of felt that like through the movie. I'm like, and then when it actually played out, I was like, I fucking knew it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it was something that I kind of had a feeling that was going on and shit. Um, but I like the play that they made on him being you know related to Bruce Wayne in a way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without getting too far into
Bastard
it.
son of
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, they like for this, like, okay, so on a comic standpoint, this Killing Joke is a comic that will forever go down in history in comics because of its dark spin. And it's funny because I was watching a lot of people on Facebook talk about comics not being dark, and it's like, no, comics are the exact opposite of that. Most times they are very dark and graphic. People die and things happen all the time in comics, but this one, it was so twisted, and the things that happened, like in the comic, that he lost his pregnant wife. He then got into crime, and then he fell in the vat of chemicals. So I mean, there was a lot that they switched around and augmented for film, even to the roping of, again, the crime alley scene, roping in the killing of Bruce Wayne's parents, the pearls breaking, I mean, it just set the tone for
loved it.
they could really set the tone to do so much more going forward. It was phenomenal, man. I loved it. I loved it. I
I,
loved
I,
it.
I loved it, and I loved where they placed the alley scene. I
Yeah.
thought that was a perfect spot for it.
Yeah.
Like they could have done it. There could have been so many different opportunities. Like the first time, when he at the opera house, right?
Yeah.
So like they could have placed it there, and so I think they placed it perfectly. You know, he did a fucking great job, man. The laughing. I think the best part about him laughing, and for people that know Joker comics or Batman comics, and have seen, beyond the movies, and seen, the all over the place,
Right.
like I loved it. I love the way they played it, man. They did a very good job with the movie. I know there were some doubts and stuff from people, including um, being
Mm.
the biggest that we knew, who was doubting it significantly. But goddamn, great fucking movie, man. I think it's probably might be the best movie of the year at this point, from what
Yeah.
I've seen.
I mean,
From what I've seen,
people been calling it that, since the early screenings of it. They said, just the depth. I mean, again, because it's, if you either way you look at it, if you remove the comic element, if you add the comic element in, Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of this character and how he is written and how deep he is supposed to be, he just acts his ass off.
yeah,
It's phenomenal, man. And the crazy part about it is, the director of this movie, who was best known for directing the Hangover,
yeah,
So
yeah,
that parallel. I mean, you got the Hangover, you got Old School, Due Date, to go from that parallel to this, that's like, that's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you wouldn't have expected it. So, I guess kind of thinking about it, right? And I was trying to think of it to myself as well.
Mhm.
On the Joker scale,
Yes, this is it's a
right?
valid question.
So let's think about just I mean, obviously there's the old school shit, even going back to Clooney. Didn't Clooney play Joker at one point?
Batman.
Oh, he was Batman, okay.
Mhm.
Um but going back to, so I'm thinking of, current time from what we've actually seen, right?
Mhm.
Not talking about the old school 70s on the screen and shit. I'm talking about, we're talking Nicholson,
Mhm.
we're talking
Ledger,
Ledger,
Jared
Leto,
Leto.
and now Joaquin Phoenix.
Yep. And we had a kid on the Gotham series play the Joker as well. I can't think of his name, but
Oh, that's correct.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't finish Gotham, so I think actually I only saw the first season of Gotham, so all I saw was Penguin
Mhm.
and who else was in that first one? It was Penguin. Oh, no. Yes, it was the skinny kid. That was in the first season. He was becoming Joker, right?
Yeah, the redheaded kid.
Yeah, he was. Damn, what was he in? He was in something else. Fuck.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know if I would even put him up there. I think he did a pretty good job, but of course I didn't see it all, so maybe he did a better job beyond the first season.
Mhm.
But if you had to sit down and like just thinking about it off top, um, how do you rank the Jokers?
Man, if we're just talking movies, strictly movies.
Yeah,
Um I'm Jared Leto's at the bottom. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get
screen
he
time.
didn't he didn't get screen time. The movie itself wasn't overall good, and Suicide Squad, it wasn't overall a good movie. And there's a lot of confusion. And it was a different time period of Joker, but then I would have to say after that would be Nicholson,
Okay.
simply because it's Jack Nicholson. That movie is iconic. Um, for what it was in the 80s or early 90s, it didn't really push the envelope as much as it probably could. Tim Burton did a hell of a job with it.
Yeah.
But because of the two actors above him, no fault of his own, because he could have went there if he really wanted to, because we know how his body of work from The Shining. But yeah, he's three. Um, between Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, man, so tough, man, because they literally playing two different Jokers. They're literally playing two different Jokers. They're just, it's two different time periods, two different elements. And I mean, honestly, while Heath Ledger was a supporting actor in that movie, you could pretty much say he was a lead actor, because Christian Bale didn't do anything. But
Heath Ledger took over that
he
movie.
took
He
over,
owned that shit.
he owned it, and it was such a great movie. Man.
The funny part is, even in the next one, uh, this dude owned. I forgot the dude that played.
Oh, Tom Hardy in the third Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah, when he was Bane. Yeah,
yeah. I think Bane took over that movie. The voice from, you know what I mean.
absolutely, absolutely.
So,
I mean, not hard
but
when Christian Bale is being Batman, but damn, man, man, I would have to say, man, Joaquin is my number one. I would have,
Joaquin.
yeah, and Heath Ledger did his thing. Again, we didn't get screen time. We also we didn't get to, and I think it's more so because of the movie. We actually got to see how this iconic character came about. And so we got much more depth from him, much more psycho, much more sinister, much more emotion. Um, I mean, I would say Joaquin is 1A and Heath is 1B. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think the way I was thinking about it, right? I same thing. I think Leto was 4 for me. Um, again because he didn't get the screen time.
right.
And at this point, I think it would be stupid for them to try to make a Joker movie with him because of what we just saw, right?
Right.
Um, I also feel like the same thing. I feel like uh
Ledger.
no, not Ledger. Jack. I feel
Mhm.
like Jack at the time, because at that time it wasn't as dark as it could have been.
Right.
And like you said, I think he could have gotten, if that's what they were wanting to do, he could have gotten really dark and really nasty. We already know that. But again, no fault of his own. He's 3 to me. So when I started thinking about these two, when I first left the film, I was like, man, I was like, yo, this dude blew it out. He's the best one ever, right? And then so as I started to think about it, I'm like, yo, Heath Ledger did just as much
hmm
with a quarter, if that, of the screen time,
Yeah.
right? Heath Ledger stole that whole fucking movie from the point that you saw him, from you met him, to burning the money, to making the pencil disappear, to what I mean. Like, he captured the fuck out of it. I gotta say, Phoenix captured the role phenomenally. I mean, he captured the role so much that I wasn't even thinking of him as an actor elsewhere.
Right.
Like,
Right.
from the minute it started, I pictured the Joker, and he, even before the makeup and all of that shit, or went without the makeup, when you saw him, I'm like, that's the Joker. Like, he captured that shit perfect. And I think it was because, again, the laughing, the disorder, etc., right? Or condition that they called it, right? Kind of puts you in a mood where you're like, that's where the ha 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 all over the place comes from, right? They did a
Mhm.
good fucking job, man. So I'd have to say, if I'm putting them in order, um, plus I give I give Ledger points because he died.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he didn't die, we get a whole Joker movie with just him.
Yep.
Um, and then I think about, if I had a whole 2-hour movie of Ledger, just like this 2-hour movie, which one I think would have been better. And I would have to go. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm gonna have to say Ledger, 1A, and then Phoenix 1B,
Yeah.
right?
Can't
And
be
then I
mad at
got
that.
Jack. And so it could go either way.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not fighting anybody that comes out and says Phoenix did a better job, but I do personally think, and maybe it was just because I love the fucking Dark Knight.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me. I don't even think that it's even about, because I just think this movie, man, this movie is just such a game changer. And it was just so raw. Like, it was so raw, and it takes you to another, it sets up so much for another platform to really just build on it. And yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. There's no right or wrong with this, with those rankings, man. um and the thing about DC right now, they've got to see, this is the thing I always talk about: brilliant people that are in these roles, that have all of this creative control and all of this money. They don't make practical decisions, they don't do the right thing. um
Mm-hmm.
and Leto's Joker, and so the thing about that, the thing about this movie, it also sets the tone for the understanding in the future, that comes around in later comics and later issues, that there can be multiple Jokers at different times, because you see the beginning of this cult following, so it's very difficult, and they'd have to be very creative going down the line. But if you expand your mind into the comic universe, you then remember now you could have multiple Jokers, because Jared Leto's Joker is a totally different version, totally different, makeup of person. And I know that they, because of what they want to do with Harley Quinn and the movement for the women in the Birds of Prey movie, he may resurface, he may reprise that role. I don't know how far they're really going to go with it now. You might see him in the Birds of Prey movie that is coming out. And while DC, I don't really like it, but I think what they're going to do, they're going to give you so many different angles of their characters. It's almost like they're going to be operating completely separately from everything that's happened so far. But we're going to see the same thing on the Marvel side in short time too. So I mean, I guess it is what it is, as long as the product is good. But yeah, man, I mean, shit, who would want to play that role after this guy at this point?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I want to see. I definitely want to see what they're gonna do with it. How they're gonna continue it. I think now they can, if they really wanted to, they could start and pick up where they left off and go with the following and the going into the story and eventually possibly building Bruce Wayne into it and Batman or whatever the case may be. With every time we watch Batman, we're watching it from Batman's point of view, with Joker being the guy that he's chasing or whatever, while we could be seeing the Joker's point of view, planning for these attacks and his blueprint to get to Bruce Wayne, or get Bruce Wayne to come out after him, etc. So I think they can there's definitely opportunity for them to move forward with this franchise, with Phoenix. The problem, I think, though, is, or the hardest part is going to be, if they're not right back into it, physically, is it healthy for him to you know to gain his weight back and live his life, and then fucking pound out another drop of 50, 60, 70 pounds to get back to the look.
I think the physicality of it at that point, I think they probably could go with him being natural weight, because the other part of Fleck, even in the comic drawings, you see him as this scrawny, defenseless guy, and as the transformation happens, you
Oh, right.
know, in this instance, I mean, he stays pretty skinny ish in the comics, but this Joker, you saw a guy that barely ate. He lived off medication.
And bogeys.
Smoke.
Nigga,
I was
every
about to
time.
say smoking all the time. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's just like, you know, I think it, depending on how they take it, we'll see that transition into the anarchist, the prince of crime. And that's always been Joker's calling to Batman. That's always been the biggest reason why he's always drove Batman crazy, because he was such an anarchist. He did things for literally no rhyme or reason. You know, he literally did things for no rhyme or reason, while the Riddler, terrorized people because he was smart, and he just had to have this compulsive ability to prove that he was smarter than somebody. That was his downfall. All of the other people had rhyme or reason behind what they did. The Joker just did things for no reason, and it drove Batman insane. And we literally see how this guy has literally lost his shit, like, all the way around. It's literally no
Yeah.
reason for him to give a shit about anything going forward. And as you see in the asylum, he then displays, at the end, without giving it up, but I mean, he then displays how things are gonna continue to go forward. So it's like, man, it's and like, again, that whole mob mentality, that whole cult following. I mean, I could definitely see. I walked out of there and I said I could definitely see why people are like, nah, we can't play this shit. I mean, I can see it. I
Yeah.
can't lie. I can't lie.
Yeah. I saw it too, but I mean, I liked the message. I really did like the message, and as I sat there and I watched it, I found myself rooting for this guy.
Absolutely.
Just you felt so fucking bad for him. Just watching how out of control he was because of the mental illness, and at times, while he seemed normal, for lack of a better word, um you still knew that he was just, again, a prisoner inside his own head.
Yeah.
And all the bullshit that he was going through, and the people laughing at him, and people trying to beat him up and shit like that. And you're just like, all right, well, if they only knew what we know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and then you're rooting for him, and you're like, God, I hope this motherfucker, oh, he did it, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah. It was a great fucking movie, man. And I would say, anyone who out there who has not seen it, make whatever arrangements to see it, whether that means fire stick in that bitch, if it's um if the movies doesn't have it, goes whatever, travel a little bit, but definitely worth it to see it,
It was
for
deep,
sure.
man. It was deep.
For sure.
Definitely deep.
Real quick though, have you? So you got Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw it. Chelsea Handler did a documentary of a sort
Mhm.
that's on Netflix. It's called Hello Privilege. My name is Chelsea, I believe,
You were saying something about that, I believe. I
and
didn't
it
see it though.
it highlights,
Hello, privilege. It's me, Chelsea.
right. It highlights white privilege in America,
Uh,
and you learn. I think the Yankees, another home run.
ah,
6-0. They about to blink these motherfuckers.
let's go.
Um. So, you learn some stuff about her, like Chelsea. I always liked Chelsea Handler,
She wasn't
and
she messing with 50 at one point.
yeah, she was fucking with 50. At least that's what the narrative was.
Oh nah, he was with her. He was with her.
But in the documentary, you find out that she had at 16, she had a black boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
And her family, she actually was pregnant by this guy, and her family wasn't fond of it, and they forced her to get an abortion.
Whoa.
Yes. So you learn a lot
Not
about,
not not because she was pregnant at 16, but because the baby was black.
of course,
Mm.
right?
Damn.
um and
Damn.
then she gets into speaking to white people, and you see their side of it. I think this is watching it, it's a documentary that everyone needs to watch, not just black people, not just Democrats, not just Republicans, not just white people, but I think everybody can benefit from being an outsider looking in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, because we know how insensitive people can be, right? White people that are not sensitive to what we deal with as African Americans,
Yeah.
um, Republicans, etc. And as you sit there, if you sit and actually watch it, and you hear the shit that some of them are saying, like when she sits down with them, you got these white ladies that are like, well, I don't think it's a thing. I don't think, white privilege is a thing. I don't think black people are treated any different, etc., etc. And they seem so fucking ignorant. And she tries to break it down to them. And then she goes to, I want to say it was Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. And she gets with this white rapper who, he's a hood dude type thing. And she fucks with his peoples, like his crew, and they talk about, you know, what we know, right? Growing up in an area where everybody's the same. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like for me, I grew up in an area where everyone's the same. We're in the same struggle in the same city, whether you and there was only three races. You were black, white, or Spanish. Like in in Connecticut, people don't. I mean, and maybe they do now, but back then, people didn't like down here in Florida. They break it down significantly to like Cuban, Colombian, fucking Venezuelan, Ecuadorian, like they break it down. Like, but in Connecticut, when I was growing up, you were black, white, or Spanish. Like, if you seen
Right.
somebody that spoke Spanish or was Puerto Rican, Ecuadorian, whatever the case was, they were Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't matter.
And you know, so you kind of see that when she goes to them, when she goes to talk to them, and then she goes and she interviews and meets back up with her boyfriend from when she was 16, a black dude, and you learn a little bit about his past and shit. And it's only an hour long, but it was I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was very good actually. And I like what she did with it. I like what she did. She ended up going into like the spoken word, and you hear the other side of it too. Um, the black people that are like, oh, look at you, you're so privileged. You think you're, because you're white, you can come into, a black spoken word night and try to use your platform, etc. Like, bitch, she trying to do something good for us. She's trying to shed light on this shit, and you mad because it's just the way people are taught. Very similar to, um, I don't know if we've talked about it in the past, but I know we mentioned it in chat and stuff. But the other night, I woke up at like 2 in the morning, and that was a poor time for me to wake up because I woke up, in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, turned the TV on. Was like, let me put something on to fall back asleep, and Black Klansman was on.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't fall back asleep because I ended up watching that whole shit.
You never seen it before then?
No,
Ah,
I really like that movie. I
yeah,
really, really like that movie.
yeah.
I think Denzel's son did a great job, but when I bring it up, I mean, the girl that he was fucking with, I was like, you're a traitor, you're a pig, yada yada yada.
Working as a cop, yeah.
Yeah, like, bitch, listen, he's doing something for the greater good of us,
Yeah.
and you're looking right past it. And I think that's a big thing. And I think, anyone that listens to our past podcasts, and, they'll hear many times where I say we have to stop using this, or we have to stop reacting like this, or, we need to stop being so pro black, etc., etc., etc. And when I'm saying that, that's kind of what I'm leaning to, right? And you guys hear me say and type it all the time. Um, that's what I mean. I don't mean like that it's not happening. I don't mean that there's not room for it. I mean that, like, you have to understand that, like, you if you're just as extreme going the other way, you're just as bad.
Just as bad. I agree. I agree. I agree. And I agree with you. And it's to the point, I'm very pro black. I'm very pro right. I'm very pro right, do the right thing. And it's like how people like, for example, people get mad and they say, well, if I see a dude with a MAGA hat on, I'm gonna hit him. If you do that, you're no better than the very same people that you hate, and you're then giving them a green light to react the same way. And the reality is, we can people there are some people that are, them being pro black means they are anti-white. There are some people that can't see that they have to be able to coexist. Is there ever going to be outright unfiltered trust? Maybe not. But
Right.
but the reality is, man, if we, and a lot of people you see that have this mentality,
Mm-hmm.
um they don't have children. They don't have people that they have to live for. Because if you think about it, if we don't view the world as a place that we can one day coexist, we ain't got to be fully in each other's lives. And if you do that and you mingle, great. If you have interracial or marriage, interracial marriage or whatever. I hate using the word race, but if you do all of that, great. That doesn't mean everybody has to do that, but you have to be able to accept that this is what it is. When you see sisters talking about brothers having white women, but and they bash them for it, but then it's okay when the sister has a white man because brothers ain't shit. When you
Mm,
continue to build these narratives, you continue to do these things, you don't go forward, and you can't live and exist in this reality that you don't have to deal with people, or that
right.
you can just be one way or the other, or I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna just say what I want because I'm black. And no, you can't lean on that. And there are people out here, white people, that want to realize that they have privilege. And somebody posted a meme the other day saying, we understand that everybody is not privileged and that bad things happen to them. It's just that we have bad things happen to us because of the way that we look, and that's the difference. And honestly, man, I mean, I kind of feel like some white folks, I honestly would just be like, yo, man, just live your fucking life. You ain't gotta try to make me feel better or worse for this shit because you can't control it. If you're not racist, just don't be racist. There's a difference between being racist and prejudice. If I see somebody that look like something and I preconceive and I prejudge, I'm fucking guilty of being prejudiced. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just because a white dude sees me and he might get alarmed, I don't necessarily think of it as racism. I think of human nature and human instinct. I might intimidate him. You know what I mean? I don't take it personal. That's prejudice. Now the problem is today that we've really gotten so far gone, we really don't even understand what racism is and the systemic power behind it. When we see Geiger getting 10 years, that's racism. That's
Right.
system. When we see Zimmerman getting off, or when you see different means of power being used towards a particular people, where the system that's supposed to treat us all equal does not. That is the racism. Sure, there are people that there are racist with racist ideals that in their everyday life try to act out this racism. Sure, yes, though there are those people, but everything and every time is not a moment for you to take it to the point where we can't even coexist as a people.
Right. 100%. 100%. They like you said, man, the violence, if you're violent towards it, you're just as bad. You know? But yeah, I would say, man, take when you get an opportunity, go ahead and watch that documentary. It was very good, man. And Chelsea, she's always been an advocate for us, for our people. She's always been, even if she wasn't like an advocate until now, but she's always been like respectful to our people. Like she's always respected the culture, whether it was just general African American, the hip hop culture. Like there's no frown on it. She's always been authentic, and so this is I think this was perfect. It was good.
Yeah, and I mean that's all you can ask people to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's not we as a people, minorities, people of colors, ethnicities, minorities, ethnic minorities, we can't expect other people, we can't expect white people to champion our cause. We have to champion our own cause. We have to first have an agenda. I mean, we as a people are so divided that we can't even agree on shit. It's like if in today's society, it's like if you don't agree with me on this, then you ain't about the movement. You got the hoteps that these be the same motherfuckers, man, that be living in their mom's basement doing nothing but chastising everybody else. It's like, yo, your vision of black excellence or achievement might be different from mine. You
Right.
got some people that are like, the key to excellence, black excellence, is real estate and investments and finances. I try to tell people like, yeah, you can say that from your $200,000 job where that's what you deal with every day and you see the impact of wealth. But I work in the slums. I work with the people to lockstep. You know what I mean? That they're not gonna be able to tell you what a 401k is when you know what I mean they don't even know what their next move is gonna be the next day. So we all got different fights, we all got different plights. And then the other thing is too, we gotta make our community safer. It's crazy. Like I see people talking this and talking that about Trump and everything and mad about racism, but they be the same motherfuckers with cousins they know out here selling dope and shooting up the hood. And
Yep.
and you not saying nothing. And
Yep.
yes, we can say racism. Yeah, it ain't got nothing to do with racism. No, it doesn't directly have anything to do with racism. However, if we make our communities safer, make our communities more unified, get ourselves together to fight for a better cause, then maybe we could tackle racism as a people safely without having to worry about our fucking city streets being shot up every night. That shit just doesn't make any sense to me, man. If we can't make everywhere better just yet, we got to start at home.
Right.
Like Chicago, Baltimore, Philly, you know, anywhere. Like, why do we still live this way amongst ourselves before we even fix that? And so
Right.
many black intellectuals leave, you know, cities and not just where they're from, but just urban cities, and they get their cushy county living, and then they talk shit from their perch. And it's like, what are we really doing?
Yeah. I'm so tired also of seeing, you know, like you said, you're seeing us killing us or hurting us or attacking us. And then the very same people that are like, oh, we need to change, we need to change. Police brutality is a thing. White people hate us. Those same motherfuckers are walking around with a free so and so t shirt. You know what I mean? Or they're posting all over social media, free so and so. Well, so and so ain't free because so and so did some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if so and so is fucking, you know, illegitimately locked up because of some shit that they didn't do, all for it. But if so and so is out there fucking selling drugs, I get it. You got to make a living, but you're selling drugs to your people. Like, motherfuckers ain't like get out there and not to condone it, but if you're gonna sell drugs, sell cocaine. Cocaine is a white person's drug. It's a rich person's drug. It's a very expensive habit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's the clientele you want. That's the money you want to make. And again, not condoning it, but it's much better than selling fucking dope to, our people, or selling pills to our people, to, you know, um, homeless black individuals, or whatever the case may be, inner city people, even inner city white people, because guess what, they still come from the same fucking community as you.
Yeah.
And even if they didn't come from your community, they're infesting your fucking community. And somebody like yourself that has to walk a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old daughter to school, and sometimes might walk past these people, or they're coming out of school and they see these people, or whatever the case may be, you know we just don't need that in you know, our neighborhoods or in our community, and we cause it. End of the day, and you can't be mad at white people and not be mad at black people, and you know what I mean. And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, not to be remiss to not mention, the systemic things that have caused the flood and downtrodden elements of our neighborhoods. Obviously, the government had a large role in it. But again, man, we know what it is, we know what it was. We got to do something, and it's just like, back to the Chelsea Handler thing. If that's what she want to do, let her do that, man. It's like some people really just get it. They just get it. And if she want to get off and she want to do what she want to do, let her do it. You know what I mean? To hate her and knock her for doing it, you're just as bad as the people you're supposed to hate.
Right.
This is just what it is. You
Yep.
know, that's just what it is. But,
Indeed.
yeah, her and 50 was a thing. Her and 50 was a thing, man.
50 was knocking the dust off of that shit.
Knocking it down. They both the same age though. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, black don't crack.
Both the same age, both 44.
But I fuck with Chelsea. She always I used to like her show when she had the show also. So
Hey, 50 loved him some Chelsea, man. He loved him some Chelsea.
yeah, she used to have a little butt when she when he was fucking with her.
I don't know about all that, but
Oh, bro, you don't know white girl butt. She was putting she putting it down a little something.
Oh
Oh
shit.
man.
That's
So tomorrow morning we got a 9:30 fucking game. I'm excited about that.
yeah. Yeah.
9:30 NFL game.
And who's that playing tomorrow?
I
At
think
9:30?
it's the Panthers and the Bucks
Mm,
in London. So divisional game, so it should be a pretty good game.
mm.
And it'll be a good lead into the rest of
Rest
the
of the year.
afternoon games for sure.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, man, football tomorrow is gonna be week 6 already, man.
NBA starting. Yo, can the NBA cut the shit? Like, yo, push your shit back, bro. Like, why do you have? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not one of these people that like the NBA having 1,000 fucking games, man. Like, I feel like they just stopped playing last month. Like, yo, this shit is out of control, man. Anthony Davis already injured.
Shocker.
Already injured. Like Bron, y'all gotta do something about this shit. NBA in October, y'all gotta do something about this shit, man. It's
You know
football
what?
season.
All they got to do is what we asked for football, but cut the fucking preseason out. You don't need that many preseason games,
Yeah,
and you playing your starters in preseason. It ain't like football where you don't play your starters in preseason
right.
until one game week 3. So um yeah, they need to cut some of the preseason shit out and get less preseason games and then go straight into the season in November at some point. Because maybe when or push it back to after the clocks go back or whatever, something different to where they're not trying to shine into the fucking NFL season. I mean, I'm sure it could only help their ratings, right? I mean, although there's no NFL on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, where there isn't, or Saturday where there is NBA, but they're cutting into college football on Saturday when they're playing football game or basketball games rather. When they're showing basketball games. Sundays they're showing basketball games. Mondays they're showing basketball games, and Thursdays they show basketball games as well. So get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, regular season is starting October 22nd. It's just like
Yeah, it's early.
it
Definitely early.
makes no sense, man. Like it just these games, like they play from October to April, bro. I mean, the season ends in April. Playoff begins in April and doesn't end till June. Like these motherfuckers, June, July, like they got like less than 6 months break. Like
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't
yeah.
get it. I don't. It's not enough. Like college basketball, they play like max of 40 games plus March Madness. Yo, end it there. Like I don't get it, yo. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, yo.
I think they can do 60 and get away with it. They can cut it
Yeah,
from 82 to 60 games and
absolutely.
be just fucking fine.
Absolutely. Nobody's watching the first 20 of these shits anyway.
True.
You know what
Especially
I
the way
mean?
the teams are fucking stacked up now.
Right. With the
Most
Western
people,
Conference and come on.
yeah.
Come on.
Mhm.
This shit, man. They got it. It sickens me. It literally sickens me. It sickens me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't take it. I can't take it.
True.
Did you see on a darker note, on a sadder note, a 28-year-old African American female shot in her home in Fort Worth, Texas.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Texas
Yeah.
just don't like us, man.
I mean, that's the Dallas Fort Worth area. I don't know if it was, I don't know if it was I don't know, I know Dallas Fort Worth is not far from one another. Um, but yeah, man. So black woman was fatally shot by a white Fort Worth officer inside her home early Saturday morning. It was like 2:28 in the morning.
Oh, by a
A neighbor,
cop?
yeah, a neighbor told the Fort Worth Star Telegram that the shooting occurred after he called the police non-emergency line to report that the front door of the home was open. So there is a body camera. Two officers searched the home from outside with flashlights before one shouts, "Put your hands up, show me your hands." One shot is then fired through a window. So police said in a statement that the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. She's 20 years old. In the video, the officer does not identify himself as police. This guy's been on the force a little bit over a year, since April. Um,
She didn't have a weapon.
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I saw it, and honestly, I didn't really dig deep into it. Because I don't know that I can. But
Yeah, I don't want to, man. They're fucking, it's out of control, yo. It's out of control. Now they're fucking killing people in their own fucking houses. Like this shit's crazy. And you know, the part that gets me is like any other company, any other job, any other career, if you have a string of things like this happening, at what point do you make a change? What point? Like people give fucking Starbucks and fucking H&M a hard time because when they had the, you know, the cutest monkey in the jungle and the dude in Philly, you know, they went through sensitivity training for minorities or whatever. Um, but you have to do something. Like you can't just be like, all right, well, fuck it, that was just a bad apple, let's keep throwing people out there. Like if police officers this day and age are incapable of making sound decisions, if they're incapable of having sound judgment in a difficult situation, then they either need to be retrained or they need to be pulled off the fucking force. Like once a year, you need to pull these motherfuckers in, and you need to have some extensive training and assessments to determine whether or not, number one, they're mentally stable, because life happens to everybody. Life happens to cops. Life happens to truck drivers. Life happens to pilots. Life happens to every fucking body just the same. So you need to pull them in, and you need to make sure they're mentally stable. They don't have a problem. Yankees just ended that, so 7-0,
mm-hmm.
one down. And you have to, you know, make sure that they need to come up with some type of assessment where you can determine if under pressure they'll make the right decision. If that means fucking sitting there and making you know, some type of virtual fucking training or game where, you know, remember back in the day when you would play the shooting games and they would have like an innocent person jump out type of thing, and you make these motherfuckers go through it and they have to score a certain score, kind of like in SWAT, you know, the movie SWAT, when they went through that shit. Remember when Colin
Farrell.
Farrell was in that shit,
Mm-hmm.
and the SWAT team had to go through the bus and they had to not shoot. You know, when people were jumping out, they had real live people jumping out to act like they're fucking. Some of them were pedestrians, some of them were fucking criminals, and they had to make sure they didn't shoot the wrong person. And I think it's needed. Like that is something that's needed on a regular fucking basis. And if they're not doing it and people are continuously getting shot and these people just can't fucking you know, respond under that type of pressure, then they need not be on the force. And I'm so fucking tired of people using that goddamn excuse of, well, you know, nobody talks about how many cops go out and stop crime every day. Nobody gives a fuck. That's the same as white lives matter or all lives matter. It's the same shit as screaming all lives matter to
Mm-hmm.
me. You know what I'm saying? Sure, there's plenty of great cops out there. There's plenty of good cops out there. They're not the problem. but they're also not put into that same situation every day. So while these great cops are out there doing their routine traffic stops and finding, guns and drugs and shit, they're not being put into a situation where they have to make a decision as to whether or not they will make it home alive that night. And if you can't make that decision, then you need not to have that job. Period.
I think for me, I agree with a lot of that. I think for me is, we also can't ignore that in a lot of these instances that we've saw over the years,
Mm-hmm.
there's two things. One, there's a bag full of cops that are just racist in their ideology and in their practice. When you see Eric Gardner getting choked out, when you see the guy in South Carolina getting shot in the back running
Away.
running away, and so then you couple that with, bad, maybe then the bad training, which you're speaking of, which might be an instance here, might not. But I think the thing is that makes it all worse for me is that we don't have a police to police the police. We
Right.
don't have a police to police the police. Where the Justice Department, where the feds, where the state legislators, government, governors, whatever. It's almost like these people are so insulated and untouchable that when we have these issues, we either don't get the truth, we get lied to, there's cover-ups, all types of shit. And I mean, like I said before, where the detective Sutter was killed in Baltimore, there still has not been anything from that. The FBI decided they didn't want to touch it. So if we live in this militarized police state, and it's almost like the police are the Gestapo, to where they could do anything and get off or get less than what others get, who's really protecting us as citizens? I'd
Right.
rather it be an instance, okay, yeah, if it was an instance of bad training, give us all the information, tell us the truth, and let's make rational decisions on what needs to be done. Geiger should have got more than 10 years. Just all of these different instances, who then oversees these people? And I think that's the biggest issue. Our police, our local police and local and state, the city police are more militarized than anything else walking around. And the way that things go, they just get to do whatever they want, get off. So it's like, who really is going to be here to tell the truth, to really protect us from them
Yeah.
when the time is needed?
Yeah. Without a doubt. And like you always say, UMVP, it's a fraternity. You know what I mean? The blue protects the blue. And that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? How many times are we seeing these dirty cops and when you go out there and you ask or you discuss it or you have the conversation, other cops are like, "Oh, well, you don't know the whole story." I don't need a fucking story. I see a video. What
Right.
the fuck do I need a story for? I can see the fucking video. Like, I got eyes like you got eyes. We're seeing the exact same thing. So guess what? You don't know the whole story neither. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit that gets me. And they're a fraternity. They back each other. And to your point, who polices them? Who stops them? And I don't know. Did you start watching Godfather of Harlem, by the way?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did. But one other point on that, we as a people also, because I live in a city in Baltimore and I work in the city of DC, where they had this, all of the young people have this fuck 12 mentality. I still don't know where that shit comes from, the 12 thing. I think I remember it came from like the South and on different music songs that I heard in college at one point. But we also need to stop raising our young people to, yeah, I understand you gotta fear them, you're weary of them, But also, if you're not doing illegal shit, that kind of lessens your chances of having to deal with them.
True.
But we need more black cops.
Well, yeah,
We
of
we need
course.
more good black cops from the places that they police, from the places that they live, in hopes that, you know, if you're policing your own, you hopefully ain't gotta worry about this shit,
Yeah.
to a large degree. So I think this some part of culture we need to kind of change. I don't know if it will, but yeah, man,
Yeah.
Godfather Harlem.
Yeah. If you've never grown up, if you've never spent time in the hood, you have no business policing the hood.
I
Because
agree.
you're not gonna know how to react when somebody comes toward you, and you're gonna immediately assume that they're a threat, and
Right.
then they're gonna allow these fucks to get off with the, well, I felt threatened, and I needed to react this way, whatever way it may be. And
Yep.
that's like, if you listen, if you ain't never took an ass whooping, then you don't need to be police in the hood, because niggas is gonna test you. Like, that's just how black people are. Like, black people hate the cops, and they gonna test you, and you gotta be able to take an ass whooping. If that means that this motherfucker ain't got no goddamn gun, and they want to fight you, if they hit you, you can't just retaliate with shooting. I mean, obviously they're getting away with it, but it's not right. It's not fucking right. There's no way you could tell me that, you know, an individual, whether it be white, black, or whatever, setting it off on you, punch you in your face or whatever, warrants you pulling out and fucking taking their life. No
Yeah.
way. No way. Because people fight and people lose fights every fucking day.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're not even talking about those instances. We're not even getting there. That ain't even, what we largely talking about. I don't
Mhm.
know too many guys really in positions to hit the cops. Like I mean, it ain't even getting it. We not even seeing that. We seeing shit where a dude is in his apartment getting shot.
Right.
Dude is getting choked out by 5 officers. And we just seeing other shit. It ain't even that. I mean, with the day to day, I'm sure cops get tested with the squabbles all the time. It's just, again, and I ain't even saying just a black or white thing all the time. But to your point, like, have some people that want to be invested in the communities that they're serving. Preferably get some people from there, raise some kids to be cops, make it cool to be a civil servant again. And I said this in many other instances, whether you're a teacher or a firefighter, other shit. Stop trying to tell kids, the funny shit, like, people be like, oh, stop trying to tell these black boys, they can make it to the NBA, they can make it to the NFL. Well, motherfucker, that's the same thing I can say about you telling every kid they're gonna be a chemo physicist or some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Every motherfucker ain't smart. So don't try to push every kid to be a fucking engineer either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same
Mhm.
shit. Like, we need to start making shit more realistic again. Yo, tell a kid it's okay to be a fucking a sanitation worker. Tell a kid it's okay to fucking work for the post office. Tell a kid it's okay to be a police officer. Black excellence does not mean you need to make 6 figures and and,
Right.
and and buy a fucking BMW. Black excellence should be about having you a blue collar job, serving your community, impacting your fellow man. Or if you do have a white collar job, great for you. Make it 6 figures. But what the fuck are you gonna do for your people? Like, we can't keep selling this facade to people that black excellence is just you making all this money and flipping all this money. Nah, man. Like, we need more black cops, need more black nurses, need more black social workers. We need people serving our community, because all the money you make ain't gonna do shit if you're not worried about the kid who ain't got nothing and is gonna break in your house and take your something.
Yep.
So it just, I don't, we and that's another thing, man. That's another thing why it's like we're so different from our not our ancestors, but our generations before us. We're so self-preservationists, We care about ourselves. We care about making it, and then we front. We get mad for the moment when shit happens, and we front like we give a shit about other people because it's cool to do in the moment. But realistically, we really aren't doing shit to take care of our fellow man.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
So, um, Godfather of Harlem
Yeah. Another Bumpy
is,
Johnson story.
yep, Bumpy Johnson's story. It's only 2 episodes in at this point, and Forrest Whitaker is doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
He's doing a pretty good job. I like the writing so far. I like the acting so far. I like the incorporation of Malcolm X. I
Mm-hmm.
I like it all, man. I'm liking it a lot, and it's uh, it's looking good. It's looking good, and let's hope it holds up.
Is season 1 only going to be 3 episodes?
No, I thought it said something like when I looked at it on IMDb. I thought it said it was something like 11 episodes or something like
Mm.
that. Let me double check it real quick.
Nah, yeah, they're gonna have more. I'm bugging. Yeah, so I mean, Epix is giving it up for free so far. I'm had to figure out how I'm gonna see the rest of it.
Oh, they're giving Epics out for free in your area right now.
Yeah, right now. So I was able to see the first two. So the producer of Godfather of Harlem is Nina Yang. Nina Yang Bon Jovi. Well,
Okay,
not Bon Jovi, but Bon Jovi, Bongiovi. That's pretty dope. It's Asian woman,
a little Asian thing.
like an Asian thing there. Producing this. That's pretty dope, man. But yeah, man,
It's like 10 episodes.
that joint is solid, man. Like, joint is
Yeah,
solid, bro. Like, his acting, just everything that's going down. I love it. I love it. Vincent D'Onofrio is in there. I did find it kind of interesting how they're portraying Adam Clayton Powell Jr. with Giancarlo Esposito, kind of like on the scumbag, scumbag realm. I thought that was kind of foul. I don't really know too much about Adam Clayton Powell Jr. being a scumbag-ish kind of guy, but they kind of portraying him as kind of slimy in this. But I don't really like that too much. But yeah, man, it's pretty dope. And just if you ever talk to somebody old enough to really tell you some things about it in that time, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to kind of see Forrest Whitaker portray this. And this is the first time that we've seen Bumpy in the 60s being portrayed. The last time we saw him in Hoodlum, it was in his prime in the 30s. So yeah, I'm with it, man. I love it. I love it.
now is that supposed to be Colin Powell?
Nah, Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Adam Clayton Powell Jr.
No, I'm saying Esposito, the
Yeah,
dude
he's
that.
he's Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Not
Oh,
not
okay,
Colin Powell. Colin Powell,
okay,
whole different dude.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
I didn't. I wasn't listening to what you were saying. I was missing it for a second.
yeah. Nah, he's playing Adam Clayton Powell Jr.
Okay,
Who was a politician back in Harlem. Doing his thing, man. He was a person of the people, and did a lot. So it's kind of weird to see them kind of portray him in kind of like a greaseball kind of way. But
it is what it
yeah.
is.
But yo, his wife in the joint, pretty bad.
Oh, Bumpy.
Bumpy's wife, pretty bad. She's from New York. She's a Sagittarius, like us, huh?
True, true.
33 years old, 5'11".
Antoinette Crow Legacy. Is that who that is?
Yeah, I forget her name. I forget her name in that joint, but she's 5'11", born in Harlem, New York. So she's acting, portraying somebody who's from her side of the woods. She
Oh
was
no,
in
that's not her. What am I talking about?
she was in Baywatch. I remember her in Baywatch. She
Yeah,
5'11",
big
man.
fame.
Gosh.
Elfanish Hadera.
I wasn't even gonna try. I wasn't even gonna try. But she's bad, man.
Born in '85.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. You're a
Yeah,
little toxic with me on this one.
yeah, she's excellent.
Get a little toxic with me on this one, man.
She's excellent. What was she? I thought I've seen her before.
She was in Baywatch. That's the only thing I recognize. Now I see the Baywatch picture. That's the only thing I recognize her
Oh,
in.
she was in Billions.
Was she naked?
No, it would be nice, but no.
Mm,
Yeah,
5'11". Sheesh.
yeah, 5'11".
Sheesh.
That's a lot. That's a lot of woman.
Oh man.
That's a lot of leg.
Outstanding.
That's a lot.
Outstanding. Yeah. How tall is Forrest Whitaker? I know he's a big dude because the Vincent D'Onofrio is pretty big too.
Yep. Yep. All right. So I think that was I think we've reached a good spot. About an hour and 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So we should be bouncing back tomorrow morning for some live. For anyone who is interested in when and how you can find us, we will be statically setting our days to where Sunday mornings will be live for viewing and following choice purposes, at least through the NFL season before the games. And that will be specifically sports talk and predictions and picks and fantasy advice, etc. It's going to be interactive, and because it'll be live on Facebook, so you can comment, you can ask questions, etc. And then we'll be putting out content on Thursday morning, every Thursday morning. So that's going to be our scheduled timing. Thursday mornings, content will come out on Spotify, and the videos will be on YouTube. And then on Sunday mornings, it'll be live recordings, which will be available via Facebook through the football season. And if any changes should come, we will let you know. So again, on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, just search CastWorthy, CastWorthy, as you see at the bottom. On Instagram, CastWorthy_podcast. On Facebook, CastWorthy Podcast. And same thing on YouTube, CastWorthy Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where you'll get your videos. And you'll be able to see us making silly faces and shit like that. Otherwise, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you contributing, whatever it may be, whether it be feedback, comments, questions, complaints, whatever the fuck you got for us, we'll take it. And share it. Share it. Tell your peoples, tell your friends. Other than that, I don't know how, I don't know if I could pull off VP's outro, but I know it goes a little something like every decision you made has landed you here
or whatever.
And we appreciate you, etc., etc., etc. So keep keep peeping us out, and we'll keep delivering or doing our best to deliver.
Indeed.
Until next time, peace.